Women, what is one major green flag you find in guys, right off the bat? He loves his mom. Okay, it may be that unfortunate circumstances led to a man not loving his mom, and that can't be helped. Not an instant red flag. But when I saw the healthy love that my BF had for his mom, I instantly melted. To be so open-hearted and wear his emotions on his sleeves, to openly appreciate his mom and to honestly share life stories with his mom regularly, does something to my lady lizard brain. Like I can trust that he will love me the same, and he does, even after a decade together. Also, second green flag, he loves his cats. I guess, kindness and compassion. Being able to take something going wrong or not to plan in good humor and laugh about it instead of getting angry. Like if the restaurant erroneously doesn't have a record of a reservation and you end up at a fast food place. Or if you plan to go for a walk but then there's a random thunderstorm. It's easy to have a shitty attitude and contribute to the mood being ruined, but someone who can be like, well, this has gone poorly, oh well, let's try and find a way to make this better, is so refreshing and gives a good indicator of what they can be like during tough times. They are trying to impress me with big actions, money, etc. They are their authentic self, with a little bit of that silly goofy nerdy behavior present immediately. I'm not impressed by a high-paying job, flashy materialistic items, your height should never really matter to anyone, or them pretending to know a ton about my interests. If my animal's like you, that's a huge green flag, too. Especially my Great Dane. If she feels comfortable around you automatically, that melts my heart. Shutting down misogyny when they see it. Before I dated my current partner, we were hanging as a group at a bar. Some older guy targeted me with the whole, "You'd be way prettier if you smiled." Current partner turned to the guy and was like, "Hey man, mind your business and don't ever say that shit to anyone again." We weren't dating at the time, but it meant a lot to me and was one reason I considered dating him down the road. He's kept it up all these years, admitting he is wrong, even if it's about something trivial. Example, I dated a guy when I was in my 20s and he said Taylor Swift is from Nashville. I told him that yeah, she lived in Nashville now, but she grew up in Wyomissing, Pennsylvania. He got mad and told me that wasn't the point. Had the same conversation with my now husband and his response was, "Wow, I didn't know that it's such a small thing, but it shows respect to your partner." Being enthusiastic about things. I feel well with guys who are present in the moment, share a good energy, will contribute to make the conversation flow. I make a joke, they laugh and they add a bit to the joke to make it funnier, etc. Also, it is very important that the guy has ideas, not just follows mine passively. I like dynamic guys who will genuinely spend a nice time with me and not only try to fit by following my lead. The thing that really stands out to me as a positive sign when it comes to guys is what I like to call the sidewalk rule. I might not be super high maintenance, but there's something incredibly charming about those little gestures, like when they offer to take care of the small stuff. It's these simple acts of kindness that I find so endearing, and I genuinely appreciate when they step up to do them. For me, it was my boyfriend not being scared of taking the piss out of me. One of our first conversations over the phone after matching on Tinder. I said to him, full disclosure, I have a lot of loose skin after losing lots of weight. He said, you know, I've always found flying squirrels attractive. Literally fell in love with him at that moment. I love that he had such a wicked sense of humor. Too much to be described in one word. I need it all. White flag, stable, trustworthy, faithful. Keeping promises, being honest. Who keeps the woman in touch and include her in things. Usually shows itself pretty fast but not always, sadly. Triangular flag on post, lies after lies. Hiding things. Same mistakes over and over again. Aggressive in public. No respect. Could make a list with 40 things. One time I asked my BF at the time friend to pull me aside when a certain guy came up to talk to me because I had before had made a move that I didn't like, cheek kiss unprovoked out of nowhere a year prior. He did that and even stayed by my side when my other guy friend made me talk to the guy to make amends, making sure he won't pull a fast one. Well, one thing that I think is really important in a guy is if he is kind and respectful. That means he is polite and treats people with respect, no matter who they are. He also listens to what people have to say and takes their feelings into consideration. That's a really good sign that he's a good person and someone you can trust. Being funny and a bit silly, confident but not cocky. Patient, kind to animals and those weaker from him. Once I was trying to trim my small dog's claws and I started getting nervous because she didn't let me. My boyfriend held her firmly and tried to calm her down with soft voice and pets. Huge green flag. Straightforward communication on our first date, basically a blind date. My now husband said very early on, "I was nervous before coming here, but now that I'm having a great time." Huge green flag. Straightforward communication, no games, sharing feelings. That green flag has been waving ever since. Speaking in complete sentences. When we first started dating, my fiancé's strongest attractive quality was that he would respond with more than 1 or 2 words when we first met online. It was quite calming. In addition, he was honest about his relationship preferences and long-term goals. If they listen to you, ask you questions and seem generally interested in you and your life. It's amazing how many guys on dates do not clear that bar and primarily talk about themselves and their achievements. When I met my husband, it struck me that he really cared about who I was. Laughing. I feel like a lot of guys try the too cool to care thing, but the very first conversation I had with my boyfriend, I made some snarky comment and he let out this loud belly laugh. He was just genuinely enjoying the conversation and not trying to be something he isn't. Being upfront about what they want. If they're looking for a fling or situationship, they say so, and if they're looking for something more long-term, they say so. Don't string someone along even for a couple of dates if you know you want different things. Taking out the garbage and recycling. Acts of service, per se. Sorry if that's weird, but when my now husband took out the trash, I knew he was the one for me. He also got along with my parents and friends. The trash did it for me though. Showing general respect for women, being a feminist. I once really liked a guy and then he made a joke about how some girls' skirts are too short and they don't respect themselves and they're sluts, and everything just disappeared instantly. Naturally caring. Funny story. First time I met my husband, we were absolutely shit-faced at a club. We drunkenly went out for noodles at like 3 AM. I told him I don't eat meat and he started scraping off all minced pork off the bowl for me. Liking cats. Cats are very independent and take a lot of patience on the human's part to really get to know their personality, temperament, and if a guy is willing to exercise it there, chances are he's willing to exercise it in general. One of my exes said that children and animals can sense if a person is good, bad, and that both liking being around me was a big reason why she said I was worth a shot. I don't know if it holds any truth to it though. Guys who have lots of female friends, it just tells me immediately that they respect women and see us as more than sexual objects. If a man can be friends with a woman without wanting to get in their pants, green flag. If he can successfully navigate a crowded grocery store without consulting Google Maps, that's a major green flag. It's a sign of direction and decision-making skills that might come in handy in a relationship. Willing to try something new without automatically having to be an expert or know more than you, or conversely feeling put out like it's a favor. Just enjoying a new experience and letting you take the lead. Treating servers, waitstaff, bartenders, etc. with respect is my ultimate green flag. Nothing worse than a floppy noodle Tinder date being a cunt to waitstaff like some kind of alpha bro asshat, when he continues to support you even when you are fighting. Making your lunch, purchasing a book he knows you'll enjoy, or furiously telling you I love you before he goes are a few examples. When he can effortlessly make a room full of people laugh with his jokes, that's a definite green flag. After all, laughter is the best way to ensure a relationship is always on the right track. Wow! Based on the comments on this thread, it sounds our women are in fact the problem in most heterosexual relationships. Even being nice and kind to others are viewed as bad things. SMH, if they ugly laugh in front of you. You know how society sets up expectations in men: cold, stoic, unfazing, etc. If they can be silly, warm, and just a fun guy to be around, green flag. Genuinely kind towards animals and a bit nerdy, knows what he wants, not afraid to show his emotions, doesn't bother himself with the toxic societal standards set for him. He didn't try to play it cool. We were friends for months and then on the first date I saw him nervous. He listened, had flowers and opened the car door. True gentleman that day. Nurturing towards animals and plants, being environmentally conscious to some degree. Showing genuine interest in other people, taking the time to talk, etc. Also good hygiene. It sounds weird, but there's like a light in some men's eyes that just tells you they're optimistic, charismatic, easygoing, and kind. I always really like dudes like that. Very early date, we are walking and talking in a park and he is picking up pieces of trash as we go. Won me over. I love nature and people trashing it make me angry. Guys with the guts to show their interests even if they could come across as nerdy. Also, guys who you know are kind without them having to say so or love bomb you. Oh, and when he's respectful and chill, biggest green flag. I don't mind timid guys, but I do like people who stand up for themselves and the people they love. As a victim of love bombing, not being super obsessed after meeting them, obviously they should like me, but if they're obsessed after like a week, run. Being chivalrous, opening the door for me, paying for the first date, giving someone change when they ask for it, helping an elderly person cross the street. Animals like them. My husband is loved by pretty much any animal he meets, to the point I think it's unfair since he's always a favorite when they talk lovingly about family. Particularly mothers and or sisters, but also dads, brothers, grandparents and nieces, nephews, etc. Being a good friend, nothing turned me more of if SB is a bad friend. As I want to have a relationship based on a solid friendship. If he has a wicked sense of humor and isn't a jealous type, those were the first green flags I used to look for when I was dating. Nice to everyone regardless of gender. Hate men that put up a show around women but show their true face around men. Ew. Icky. Actively listening when you are talking and actively participating in a conversation, in person, over text, or over the phone. I read this post as what is a major red flag. I was sitting here reading the comments like, what the fuck do women want? The ability to just be silly with each other, not take themselves too seriously. Great humor, some charisma with it. These answers are the clear proof that you must not listen to what women say they want but look at what they pursue. Manners. Good conversation skills. Bonus points if he eats without me hearing it or seeing the food in his mouth. When he says he's old school. The type to ask your dad if it's okay for him to ask me to be his girlfriend. An elegant collection of stylish fedoras to establish his alpha nature and dominance of the STEM fields.